I guess I've tried to decide through my life whether this has been a blessing or a curse. Accounting is actually my vocation. I'm a CPA, and that's how I've made my living. Music has been my avocation. There have been many times when I have looked back and wondered, I probably should have played music for a living. But by not playing music for a living, it frees you up to play whatever you enjoy playing. My first experience with the banjo came when Dad borrowed a banjo and brought it into the house one night. Dad loved banjo music. Dad picked at the banjo, but to be fair, and he would be the first one to tell you, he never really learned to play the banjo. And I picked it up and tried to play it, but I played it like it was a guitar, or tried to, and just wasn't having any luck. And I took the banjo, leaned it against the wall in the bedroom, and during the night, I woke up, and I guess in my sleep, in my mind, I had an idea how to approach playing the banjo. Now, it wasn't the absolute best way, but I got up, sat down on the floor, leaned against the bed, and sat there for a couple hours just messing with that banjo and beginning to play some songs on the banjo. Now, when I first started learning to play the banjo, I was used to, and I would watch this with Dad on Friday nights, we would see the Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs show. And for those of you who are familiar with banjo, you know that Earl was the man, the father of picking three-finger style on the bluegrass banjo. And when I first started learning to play banjo, I learned to play three-finger style. Now, three-finger is a totally different animal, if you will. Use a thumb pick, two-finger picks. These fingers are going to pick up and the thumb's going to pick down. So you're going to get a sound more like this. That was the way I started out playing, and to this day I still play some three-finger or bluegrass banjo. But then one day, I was in a record shop in Ashland, Kentucky, and I saw this album, long-playing album, for those of you who know, and it was Uncle Dave Macon. It was a record, an album, again, long-playing, 33 1/3, that was made from old 78s. And I bought that really for Dad. But as I listened to it, I heard what people today call old-time banjo for the very first time. And I was really struck with that. Now, I liked bluegrass. I still like bluegrass. But old-time music is where my heart really is. Old-time music is that form of music that existed really pre-bluegrass. A lot of the instrumentation is the same, but the styles are different. It's not as slick, if you will, as bluegrass music. I had a brother-in-law that was a fiddle player, a friend of his that was a guitar player, and so we put together the first band, if you will, that I had ever played in, and it was called the Kentucky Foothill Ramblers. Our first performance of any note was when we played a festival in Greenup, Kentucky in 1970. And I'm telling you, I was hooked. Playing in front of an audience is just a real thrill, particularly when you play music and they enjoy the music that you play. This was during the period when old-time music festivals were first getting started. And again, we're in the early 70s here, in places like Ivydale, West Virginia. And these festivals were just a wonderful time, because all these people came together, the mountain people, the young people, such as myself at that time, who were learning to play, and the back to the landers all came together and just enjoyed the music together. If anyone needed anything, someone else was willing to share with them. And during this time, I got exposed, really for the first time, to a lot of different old-time banjo pickers. This is how I was able to pick up the clawhammer style of old-time banjo. You pick a string down, your thumb will come down, then you pick the string again, and your thumb will get the fifth. So it'll start out sounding like this. lot of different things with the band. We were playing this one festival, and we're getting ready to go on stage, and I'd had a few. I'd had more than a few. And I told the fiddle player, before we walked up on stage, I said, all I ask is that when we get out there, make sure I'm facing toward the audience. Because I wasn't in real good shape. But we played and we had a good time, and the audience whooped and hollered. There was this bluegrass gospel group who was just recently formed, and I knew a couple of them, and they played one day at church. And I'm sitting there thinking, now I could play some three-finger banjo with this group. So afterwards I got to talking with them, and I joined that band and played for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. We did a little bit of recording and played with this group. Played a lot of small churches, drove through some creek beds. I think we played places that weren't even on the map. But we had a wonderful time, a lot of fellowship, didn't really get paid money, but got fed mighty fine. And there's something to be said for that. While I was playing with this group, and again, most groups, I don't know if any of you have ever been in a band, seems like turnover is inevitable. You get a group, and you get it exactly where you want it, and then somebody leaves for one reason or another. But this band was playing off and on. It had some turnover. And there was another band that had broken up and decided they wanted to start an old-time band. So the fiddle player for this band calls me and asks me if I'd consider playing banjo old-time style with them. He said we could do this or we could do that, and I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I said, I'll come by your house one day, and we'll get the band together, and we'll play a few songs, and we'll see where it goes from there. Well, that was 14 years ago, and I'm still playing music with this same group, called the Rockdale Ridge Runners. We've played all over Middle Tennessee and Northern Alabama. Seems like, I'm not sure what this says about us, but it seems like we're more popular in Alabama than we are in Tennessee. You go down there and you get the crowds that are my favorite kind of crowd, those that are starved for entertainment. This band plays old-time music, but it plays it in a more driving style. And therefore, when we play, we get lots of dancers at the festivals we play. And we just have a wonderful time. Playing music is, for me, one of the greatest joys in life. Everybody, I think, should play music. A fella asked me in the office the other day, he said, do you believe that everybody can play music? And I said, yes, I do. I'm not saying people can play it to a level where they can play for 10,000 people. I'm not saying that. But everybody can, I believe, play music at a level in which they can enjoy it. If you learn how to play music, you can entertain yourself. It's a great pleasure. I enjoy playing for people. If I had to get on stage and talk to probably 80 people and do a speech, I'd be nervous. But I can take that banjo and climb on stage to entertain the people. And we have just a wonderful time, and so do they. Because the audience can tell when you enjoy what you're doing.